Citizen science is the early involvement and close collaboration with citizens during all the phases of research. With science, I don't just mean physics and chemistry, of course, but all the research that's available, humanities, social sciences, etc. Ideally, science and scientific facts help the government to develop policies. So if we are developing facts, if we are creating knowledge to inform government policy, it is really important that we engage citizens during that scientific process so that we can derive better policies from it. Any big challenge in a large city really requires a very close involvement of not just citizens and academic and researchers, but also the industry, private sector, and in that combination to really understand what the problems are underneath the challenges and what people need. And so an example of what I think goes really well in Singapore is involvement of the elderly population in smart city building, really understanding their needs, not just providing information and sharing sessions, but also offering retraining, offering assistance in participating digitally in the smart city. Sometimes we make decisions, we develop technology, and we don't quite listen enough to people. This sometimes happens in healthcare, for instance, where we are so busy in developing solutions to deal with the disease that we may not always listen too well to what patients really need. So any complex question that arises in a city would very likely benefit from involving citizens already in the knowledge gathering and knowledge development processes. So harnessing citizen science means a lot of changes in the way we do things, not just in the way that we do research, but also in the way that we engage between citizens, the industry, private sector and the government. So I think a wonderful example is the Emerging Stronger Task Force and Alliance for Action, where through and with private sector and industry, citizens are engaged in developing solutions to emerge stronger for a resilient Singapore is a nice example. When it comes to the scientific process or the process of doing research and finding facts that will then inform decisions that are made in the city, that means that we will, for instance, need technology to engage citizens. Examples that we are already familiar with are, for instance, in biodiversity. We ask people to make photos of birds or biodiversity and upload them so that we learn more about the biodiversity that is happening in Singapore. But if you can imagine, there are many other types of science and research, for instance, in healthcare, in biotech, etc. And there, the technology that we develop to allow citizens to be part of developing the research questions, collecting the data, drawing conclusions, being transparent about the values that are underneath the research. That technology that we develop to do the research will also shape the research. So the scientific process itself will inherently change a lot as well. But I do believe that because we will involve citizens to carry out the research, the results of the research will be better, and therefore the emerging policies based on that research will also be better.